Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. How are you doing? It's been a fun Friday morning already for us here at the studio. We're having a good time. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you, as I said, by SCVI and iLead Charter Schools. We're a network of charter schools. Remember, charter means public, free of charge. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school, a burgeoning homeschool program called iLead Exploration. You know, for more information on our seat-based schools, you know, our regular classroom schools, or our virtual schools, you can just go to iLeadschools.org and click on our schools for information on all of our schools here in the North LA County area. So yeah, we're a bunch of schools, and so we keep our eye on education in Santa Clarita and the Antelope Valley and across the nation, but like our school says, we keep our eye on the valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the valley. And we try to do so while bringing a smile to your face because, you know, if you're not giggling on a Friday morning, you're not doing it right. So let's go ahead and get started. You know, just like that, if you've been out this morning, you know, just like that, it's winter. Walked out of the house. Hustled out of the house because I was running a little bit late this morning, and there was frost on the neighbors' rooftops, and we got some rain this week, a little more rain coming up next week. We're under a freeze watch this weekend. That can't be right. This is SoCal, and it's still barely November. But no, it says so right here. Freeze warning for Santa Clarita and Antelope Valleys. So, all right, dig into the garage, folks. Grab those earmuffs and scarves, and let's buckle down for one of those harsh Southern California winter days where the temperatures could get as low as the high 40s. Wow. Well, I tell you what, why don't you grab those thick socks for a cool fall morning. Grab those thick socks out of the top drawer. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Stick your feet back under the blanket and hang with us for a while. We've got a great show for you this morning. Wonderful show that you're just going to want to hang out and enjoy with us. We start off by highlighting, honestly, one of the most amazing school projects you've ever heard of. And I know that because I've seen thousands of projects run through our schools over the last 15 years, and it's one of the most amazing projects I've ever seen. So we've got Sherelle Tillman and Manola Fortun from iLead Antelope Valley sharing what their kids have been up to. And what their kids have been up to is going to knock those warm, fuzzy socks right off your feet. And in hour number 2, we're going to talk to Cyan Wignall. He is the founder and executive director at Real Way Foundation, helping those struggling with personal and financial hardship find their way back into the workforce and return to self-sufficiency. And yes, for those of you that enjoy the fun and the trivia, Big T will be joining us too. He'll pop in for his 5 minutes of fame at the end of the show. So we've got something for everyone and everything for someone. So whatever that means, let's go ahead and do it. Sit back, relax, let's enjoy this amazing show that we've got. Earlier this month, the learners at iLead Antelope Valley Charter School in Lancaster participated in, as I was mentioning before, one of the most innovative, authentic, and cutting-edge projects I've ever heard of. The entire school, TK, that's transitional kindergarten. We're talking about 4-year-olds, y'all. Transitional kindergarten through 8th grade. Each one of the learners developed, or they did it themselves or in groups, they developed and wrote proposals for NASA. Now, this is not a simulation where, you know, they're writing I propose we send, you know, men to go live on the sun. It's not a simulation. They're writing actual proposals that could soon be sent into space. Well, our learners and educators do a much better job describing it than I do. So we've got a short video that we're going to play. Now, I know this is radio, and so you're not going to be able to see the video. That's kind of how radio works. But we've got the audio from a video, and while we're playing it, if you're watching on Facebook Live, I'm going to drop a link to the video in the Facebook Live chat. But if you're not on Facebook Live, don't worry about it. Once the clip is done, I'll tell you how you can go look for it a little bit later. So if we're ready, if we've got that audio pulled up, go ahead and play it. So yeah, here we go. The kids and the facilitators are going to describe their project for you. Wait for it.
On October 6, 2022, learners, facilitators, staff, and families from iLead Antelope Valley Studio gathered to celebrate the learning that had taken place on their campus over the previous weeks. Learners from 8th grade all the way down to TK participated in the Dream Up to Space Experiment Design Challenge. Their mission was to learn the fundamentals of space exploration, including the International Space Station, microgravity, scientific experimentation, and proposal writing. They used this knowledge to answer an exciting question. If you could send up an experiment to the International Space Station, what would you send?
Hi, my name's Haley. I am in second grade. Gravity what keeps you on the ground and makes things fall. ISS, International Space Station, it is the largest structure. Our proposal room for it at iLead AV is we want to see if plants grow the same in space like on Earth. What do you think?
Haley wants to see if plants grow the same in space as they do on Earth.
Hi, my name is Tillman and I teach 4th grade. So we did the Dream Up project and my learners focused on how plants can help human existence on Mars.
Hi, my name's Delilah. This is my Dream Up project.
If you could send anything up to the International Space Station, what would you send?
An orange tree. I picked the orange tree because it could give you oxygen, it gives you a snack, orange juice, and the peel of the orange helps for like burns, and you can make tea when you're sick.
Oh, that's awesome. What was your favorite part of the Dream Up to Space project?
Probably introducing myself and talking to people.
I've seen them grow a lot as far as their critical thinking skills. They've learned how to do research. They've learned how to use a Google document. They've learned how to even just ask themselves the question of like, what if? Or how can this happen? Or if this doesn't work, how to find another solution? And they're doing this on their own. And so for them to know how to do all these things on their own and be excited about it at the same time, it was really nice to see them grow emotionally, socially, mentally, academically. They've come a long way.
The difference between this project and other projects that I've done before, there's the potential and possibility of that if the kids win, they could affect like the real world. You know, instead of it's insular and in our classroom, it's hard to comprehend, but they could potentially have their thing go up to the ISS.
Yeah, so you heard that right. These kids, TK through 8th grade, are designing projects that, if they're chosen, could actually fly on Elon Musk's taxi cab, SpaceX, go up to the International Space Station, and be performed right there in space. It is an absolutely incredible opportunity for our learners. Now, if you think that audio clip was adorable, you've got to see these kids, and our facilitators are amazing as well. You'll have the opportunity to meet them in just a second. But if you'd like to see the video, just go to YouTube, and then in YouTube, search iLead Student Aerospace Projects. So iLead Student Aerospace Projects on YouTube. You can see the full video and the amazing things that the kids were doing in their classroom. It's such an exciting project, such an amazing opportunity for our learners. And now I welcome in those two facilitators that you just heard from in that clip. We call our teachers facilitators, and so those two that were featured in that clip, Sherelle Tillman and Manola Fortun. Ladies, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. First off, before we get into this incredible project, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your educational journey. I understand both of you have a really exciting background. How did you come to iLead? What grades are you teaching? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Okay. I was with iLead
since 2015, I believe, since we opened at the AV campus. And I started off as care team, actually. And this is my first year teaching fourth grade. This is my first year teaching, period. And so it's very exciting. It's very, nerve-wracking just because I want to do a good job. But let me tell you something. Being care team has led me to be the facilitator or / teacher that I am today. You learn to adapt. You learn to build relationships. You learn to do a lot of things and wear many hats being care team. And so that helped a lot with me being a facilitator now and wanting to be better for my kids that I'm teaching. I never saw myself in this position fully, but then I met someone at work, our director, Ms. Coleman, and she saw the potential in me, and she pushed me to do this. And so I'm glad she did, because this is a great opportunity that I'm doing, and I feel like I'm making a difference for these kids. And I always tell people I'm going to treat the kids the way that I would want someone to treat my son. He also goes to iLead. And so I'm always going to put my best self forward for the kids, no matter how hard I feel like it is. I'm always going to do my best, because when they see my potential and me always putting my best foot forward, then they're going to do the same thing.
Sherelle, that is beautiful. So you mentioned that you started out as care team, which is a wide variety of support roles on our campus, but you've stepped into the classroom full-time this year, and we're so glad to have you there. What about you, Manola? I understand that your career started up somewhere else, and you've got a bit of experience before you came to us.
Yeah, I actually started in 2015, too, and I started at a charter school down in the valley, because I'm from Downey.
Oh.
And 2 years ago, I got married, and we moved up to the Antelope Valley, and I started working at Palmdale School District. But I missed, that small school, beating heart community that I had at my other charter school. So I started looking for a charter school here up in the Antelope Valley, and I found iLead, and I've loved my time here. I started only a few months ago. This is my first year here. But, I just feel so much more connected to my students, their families. I feel like I can make a difference here.
That is awesome. Gosh, you both pour such tremendous passion into what you're doing in the classrooms. So, Sherelle, tell us a little bit about this project. I know we heard about it in that audio clip, but the kids were tasked with coming up with ideas for experiments to be conducted on the International Space Station, right? This is what I love about project-based learning. What makes it so great for learning is its authenticity. But are these kids really designing experiments to be conducted on the International Space Station by NASA scientists?
Yes, they are doing this. They did it themselves. Let me tell you. So when I found out we were doing this project, I was super nervous, because I have heard things about this project. It's usually not for K through 5 or K through 6. Usually it's for our older ones. And so when I heard we were doing this project, it was like, oh my God, this is a lot. I don't know if I can do this. But the kids were super excited about it, which made me excited about it. They were able to come up with these ideas about sending plants to Mars to help human existence. And so for them to think about changing the world and thinking about making a difference for astronauts and thinking about other people other than themselves, and trying to fix something if something doesn't work, and having that what-if question in their head and wanting to learn more. I learned, not only did I learn a lot about the kids, I also learned a lot about myself within this project. This project was hard work. They had to build and come up with these experiments. They had to write proposals. And mind you, a lot of these kids, it was their first time back in school in a long time. Some of these kids never done a project before. Some of them have never spoken in front of people before. Some of them have never even thought about putting something together like this ever in their life. And so for them to want to do this and want to be their best self in this project, think about other people, come up with these experiments, think about their proposal and what they want to send to NASA. I had some kids writing their proposals and said, "Dear NASA." Right, and they were like, from so-and-so, and I was just like, that's super cute. But the project in itself was eye-opening to a lot of the learners as far as like, hey, astronauts have it really hard traveling in space. What if we all have to go to Mars, is what their questions were. What if there's no existence on Earth anymore? The next planet we will travel to is Mars. And then there was what if we all have to wear spacesuits? What if this happens, and what if that happens? And so that's where a lot of the plants came into play. And they were able to figure out, they did research. A lot of them have never done research before.
Sure.
And so for them to learn how to do research and learn to work together and learn not only about themselves but the other people in their classrooms and feed off of each other's ideas as far as experiments and ideas and plants and presentations and stuff like that. It was really nice to see.
That is absolutely incredible. You know, you mentioned in the video that kids are learning more than just the science and technology and things like that, but they're learning how to use Google Docs and how to share documents and now you're talking about, you know, just imagining and learning research and what are we going to need if we have to move to another planet. That's incredible. So Manola, how does it work? I mean, there's got to be constraints, right? Is Delilah really going to be sending a full-size orange tree up into space? The postage alone on that has got to be astronomical.
It is. So what we're teaching the kids is the engineering method, right? They design something. They not, in this case, they didn't build it, but they simulated it.
Okay.
They saw, okay, is it going to work? No, too big. That seed doesn't fit in their little mix stick. Okay. They went back to the drawing board. And so that's the engineering method, right? You try something, it doesn't work, figure something else out that works. So the biggest constraint is space, its size, and the mix stick only fits about 9 millimeters of stuff in it.
Okay, so we're talking about a small tube that they have to work with.
A very small tube.
All right.
So some of their ideas, once we started looking at the size of the seed, wouldn't have even fit inside the mix stick.
Wow.
And so it's, okay, you have this great idea. It could have really great benefits for the astronaut, but it doesn't work. Let's go back to the drawing board. And so teaching them that, and that's what scientists do all the time. They attempt something, they design it, they put a lot of effort into it, and then they have to tweak it, and they have to go back and make it better. And so I love that the kids got to do that, and they got to do it with something that has the potential of actually affecting the real world. So they're not actually sending up an orange tree into space. They're just designing an experiment that tests, could you grow an orange seed in space? What happens to it? And then you compare it to an experiment they've done on Earth. And so that's what they're doing.
And we can't emphasize enough how important that design process is, because especially at this age, and you know, we all rant and rave about how, you know, we live in a microwave society where we want instant results or we're going to move on. Kids are learning to go back and forth to the drawing board and to iterate different possibilities rather than just saying, well, I came up with an idea, it won't work, so I'm done, I'll move on to something else. No, they've got to keep trying, keep thinking, keep coming up with different ideas. And that develops, again, so many things well beyond what we consider the basic core subjects of school. It develops grit, it develops tenacity and patience, perseverance. So many different things are being developed in our kids. I want to continue talking about this project, and I want to get into some of the specifics of what it was that your kids are doing, but we do need to take a quick break. Sherelle Tillman and Manola Fortun join me this morning, 4th grade and 6th grade teachers respectively at iLead Antelope Valley. When we get back, they're gonna prove it to you. We'll talk about the specific proposals that their kids wrote, and most importantly, what happens next. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. And I'm joined this morning by 4th and 6th grade teachers. We call them facilitators at iLead. They work at iLead Antelope Valley up in Lancaster, Sherelle Tillman and Manola Fortun. Their students at iLead Antelope Valley, including kids from as young as transitional kindergarten through 8th grade, are participating in the Dream Up to Space project, where they're proposing experiments for the International Space Station, and not just fake proposing. They are literally writing proposals to NASA, writing experiments to NASA specifications, with the hopes that because they do have the opportunity, with the hopes that they will see their experiments conducted by NASA scientists on the International Space Station. Such an incredible opportunity. So, ladies, we listened to an audio clip a little bit earlier that talked about how the goal of this project was to teach so much, to teach the fundamentals of space exploration, to teach about microgravity, which is what we often refer to as weightlessness, right? There's actually gravity there, but anyways, I won't get into that. So, fundamentals of space exploration, microgravity, scientific experimentation, and proposal writing, and we talked about so much more than that. So first of all, this project inherently combines science, technology, engineering, art, math, a heavy dose of technical writing, not to mention, as we talked about before, the design process that's inherent all along the way. So what's the benefit of such an integrated approach to teaching and learning, combining all those different subjects? How does that benefit your learners?
I think, one, it teaches them that all our subjects are connected, especially since I'm specifically a science teacher, and I'm also teaching math this year. I want them to see you have to use English and some history and science and math in all your subjects. I mean, you use them all the time. And not just that, this project helps the students see the value in their work, that it can have a greater impact than just their little bubble in their lives. This has the potential, if they're chosen, of affecting the astronauts, and this experiment could lead to some discoveries. I mean, they don't know. It could. These projects, because they're so well-rounded, and they develop part of students' characters, like we talked about, their growth mindset, their grit. It develops their skills. They have to learn to do research, go back, reflect, revise their work, which are good skills for any student to have.
Sure.
And on top of that, we're covering science standards, right? They're learning about space. They're learning about microgravity. So I think there are many reasons why these kinds of projects benefit our students.
That is amazing. And Sherelle, you talked about in that video clip the growth that you saw in your learners. What did you see as a result of this integrated approach to learning, where it's not math time, so we're going to do math, and then it's English language arts, so we're going to do reading and writing, and then it's science, and so we're just going to do science, but combining all of this, bringing all of their skills together? What benefits did you see in the classroom?
I saw a lot of benefits. I saw them building life skills, for sure. I saw them building character, like Manola said, critical thinking skills. Like I said, a lot of them have never even done a project before. And so for us to come into the school year, do a project like this, integrate all subjects into this project, not only were they still learning everything in class, but they were still learning everything about space at the same time. And so it was really nice to see them build these skills and it was nice for me to see their potential and what they possibly can do. And who says it has to stop in fourth grade? So whatever idea, proposal they had, like, why does it have to stop in fourth grade? What if they go on to fifth grade or seventh grade, and, in eighth grade, and they say, hey, I want to do the same idea, but I want to I want to go in deeper into my thought, or I want to add this into my experiment. I want to add that into my experiment. Like, it doesn't have to stop there. This is just a small piece of their first project, and so I think that them building the confidence to do this and the confidence to ask themselves the what-if questions and the confidence to even ask me questions about space and Miss Kathleen questions about space. It's really nice to see them, like, build their self-confidence and their critical thinking skills and their SEL skills into this project.
You know, Sherelle, you talk about this doesn't have to stop in fourth grade or fifth grade. It can continue on. We've seen kids do that, right? We had a high school group a few years back, and they were studying mycology. They wanted to see, if different mushrooms and fungi could grow in space. And that morphed into, a year or so later, them looking to see if they could use different mushrooms to build bricks, because you can imagine the complication of bringing bricks from Earth up to Mars.
Right.
Right? So they were wondering if they could grow mushrooms on Mars and use those to build bricks. So you're right, it does morph and it does continue to iterate and carry with these kids. But what's funny is you say it doesn't have to stop in fourth grade, when most of us don't even realize that this could start in fourth grade. We often talk about students when we refer to when you're out in the real world. Well, y'all have put your kids out in the real world now. They're proposing experiments for NASA and possibly sending them up. So you talk about all these integrated skills, right? They're learning grit, and they're learning Google Docs, and they're learning the design process. Manola, I want to ask you, are the kids, are they really learning that stuff? Or is this something that you and the other facilitators are really driving for them? We talk about kindergartners. Are kindergartners really learning all this stuff?
Well, I can't speak about kindergartners, although we did walk through all the classes and see the work. And I saw their work, and it was really great. My sixth graders, I teach sixth grade. We were so impressed with some of their projects. They were so put together. So I'm not in the classroom, so I can't speak for them. But they did have products to present when we did the walk around for the presentation of learning. But the sixth graders are driving this. We had to explain what the project was, and we told them that they could potentially get chosen and go to Florida and watch it be launched into space. And so that was kind of like a fire, but they've honestly been driving this project, and they've been refining their work and editing it and asking for feedback and making it better. They're doing that, and I think they're motivated now. They have their own little fires lit in them. They want to get to the top. They want to be the one that wins for our school. And so I love seeing that in them.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right. I'm sure kindergarten, first grade, they get a little bit more guidance from their facilitators, and maybe they sit together to brainstorm different ideas, but they are learning that they can have an effect on the real world now. They don't have to wait. They learn the design process. It's absolutely beautiful. And then, did I hear you right, Manola? If they're chosen, they actually get to go to Florida and see their experiment be launched?
Yeah, so actually, right now we're in the process of selecting our top teams. So we're guiding our students, our grade level, and helping them make the slides look more professional, edit them. So we're helping them right now. And then next week we're going to choose 5 teams from our school site, and they're going to go in front of a panel of scientists, engineers, and that panel will objectively look at the 5 teams and pick the best one. And so, yes, if they're chosen, they get to go to Florida, the Kennedy Space Center, and watch their project be launched on a rocket into space to the International Space Station.
That's incredible. So they're getting those presentation skills, and And,
Yes.
well, let's face it, they're going to deal with real world things like having to revise their projects before a presentation and possibly being faced with rejection. Or in some cases, we've seen they're tentatively accepted where they have to go back and revise things even further before they can move on. So, Sherelle, as if it weren't obvious already, why is a project like this important for our kids? Because oftentimes we think, I'm going to drop my kid off to school and they're going to have a reading group, they're going to have a math group, they're going to do some science and some history, they're going to go out for PE. But this type of project, why is this something that's so important that you spend so much time working on?
I think this project was so important, and why we spent so much time on it was so that the learners can be able to revise, maybe change an idea if they needed to change an idea, and really for us to go into depth about how space works and thinking about changing the world and thinking about changing the astronaut. I think that if we were to rush through any project that we did, they wouldn't get the skills that they need. They wouldn't learn from it. They wouldn't get the life skills. They wouldn't get the building relationships. Because, again, a lot of the kids didn't know each other. And so for them to come into the school year with a project, having to work in teams and having to work together and having to build independence for themselves and think for themselves, I think that taking the time out to do those things and teach them these skills was very important.
Yeah, gosh, so many amazing benefits. Now, we heard on the audio clip that we played last segment, Manola, about there was the young lady that is experimenting with an orange tree, and there was another young lady that referred to plants. Manola, what are some of the other types of experiments that the kids came up with? What are our learners proposing? Are they all kind of based around plants, or is there a deeper variety?
So for my class, the standard in sixth grade that we're learning was cells. And so how all living things are made up of cells. And so our focus was on living things. And so my sixth graders did seem to focus and zone in on plants because they're alive and there's a lot of benefits we can get from plants. I know from other groups that I've talked to that other people didn't do just plants. Like last group from a couple of years ago, they sent a piece of metal, and they were curious about how things rust in space versus how they rust on Earth. And apparently once they brought the project back down from space, they were able to see there's a big difference of how things rust in space and how they rust in Earth.
That's so
they
cool.
don't always have to be plants, but because that's what we were learning at the time in our class, cells, it's kind of what their focus was for the sixth graders. So project, one of my students did mint, right? Mint has a medicinal benefit. It soothes an upset stomach. But you can also chew it for better breath, since you're in close quarters in the space station. They thought you want to have fresh breath for your work companions. So that was one project.
That's awesome.
There's many. They all were creative. They didn't copy each other. They all had their own unique idea.
Yeah, nobody wants anybody walking around the International Space Station going, "Hey, Jerry's stinking up the place." That is so cool. So, Sherelle, you said that you saw your learners grow as a result of this project, not only academically but socially and emotionally as well. Can you expand on that a little bit? What did you see in your classroom as a result of this project that's really feeding into the lives of your kids?
I saw us building class community. Like I said, it was not only where I was new to them, they were new to me, they were new to each other. Some of them knew each other, sure, but a lot of them, again, haven't been in school in a long time since COVID. Some of them were homeschooled. Some of them came from a different state. And so for us to come into the school year and get to know each other and, everyone's potential through this project was nice to see. They helped each other. They did have to work in teams for their mission patch artwork. And then they had to learn how to communicate with each other, how to build ideas. And like you said, rejection. They had to learn how to, learn to be okay with someone saying, how about we try this instead? Or how about we change this and do that instead within groups and not be upset about it, or learn how to communicate and say, how about we can tie in both ideas and do it this way? And so, like I said, they build a lot of character within themselves and in the classroom as a whole. Life skills as far as communicating, rejection, learning how to use a Google Doc together. I had a lot of learners who wanted to help a lot of their peers in the classroom, which was nice to see, even if they didn't know that person. They were just, Miss Sherelle, can I so-and-so? And I would say, yeah, of course you can. They bounced ideas off of each other a lot. Someone said, how about we send a cacti up to Mars because we don't think there's a lot of water on Mars, and cacti can produce water, and that can be water for us to plant and grow seeds on Mars and the soil and stuff. And then I had other learners say, you know what, that's true. And then they came up with other plant ideas. And so it was really nice to see them build that character and build like those relationships with each other, and also with me, because like I said, I'm still getting to know the learners as well. And so building a relationship with them was just as important as them building their relationship with me.
That's beautiful. And that type of collaboration, cooperation, problem solving, I guarantee you there's people in their cars right now listening on their way to work going, gosh, I wish my coworkers would have that level of collaboration, cooperation. and that's exactly what it's all about. We're preparing our kids for what they're going to be stepping into in the future. So, Manala, before we wrap this up, you talked a bit about the presentation process. So they've written their proposals. Right now they're in the process of putting together a slideshow presentation to present to a board of scientists who are going to eventually decide who gets to fly. So cool. So what are some of the next steps? They're refining their presentation. They're going to present. Then what?
I think they have to make a video pitch.
Okay.
So that's a skill they have to work on, like being concise to the point, because it's a short video, and they have to try and convince someone why their project should be chosen, why their project is important and it should matter, and that they should get the chance to test it out. So they do have to do a video pitch. And then I think their slides and their video pitch, if they're one of the 5 groups chosen, gets sent to the panel. It's Sherelle and I, it's our first time doing it, so we're also learning about this project as we go.
Okay, and so once they get selected, then I think what happens is they have to then come together in the lab, and they have to get everything ready, because we have to hire. I joked about postage before, but that's a real thing. We have to take their experiments, put them all together, and we have to ship them to Cape Canaveral. And we use a company called NanoRacks, which is, I joke and I call them kind of the FedEx of NASA. But obviously, they specialize in handling things with tremendous care. So our kids bring their experiments together in the lab. They get it prepared to be, and it's a very technical process that they learn and they participate in, loading their stuff with NanoRacks and shipping it out to Cape Canaveral. And then what's interesting, we've seen this a few times in the past, kids deal with the NASA schedule, right? Because sometimes there are things that take priority. Oops, this is an urgent project that NASA has to send up. So kids, your experiment's going to get bumped. And so they have to, oftentimes their flights to Florida, they have to make sure that they're flexible in their reservations. And so this is all stuff, ladies, that you're going to have to keep your eye on coming up in the future. I actually, when I was a school director, got to travel with a group of my kids that went out to Cape Canaveral to see a launch, only for that launch to get canceled by lightning as we were sitting there, as the rocket was on the pad. And it worked out great for our kids. Our kids got to stay an extra couple days in Florida with their families and eventually watch it launch. I had work to do, so I had to come back home, and I missed it. But yeah, they learn about the reality of space exploration firsthand. So Ladies, this is just an absolutely amazing project. I want to congratulate you as well as Shauna Brown and Kathleen Fredette, who I know mentored you through this entire process and continue to do so, and your entire school. Sherelle Tillman and Manola Fortun teach 4th and 6th grade respectively at iLead Antelope Valley, and they are a TK through 8th grade charter school in Lancaster. You can find more information at iLeadAV.org, or you can check out all of our campuses at Santa Clarita, Agua Dulce, online, or homeschool program at iLeadSchools.org. That's iLeadAV.org or iLeadSchools.org. Ladies, thank you for joining me this morning, and good luck to your learners. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. Our next guest, you're going to love this guy. He's just so amazing and doing incredible work. His name is Cyan Wignall. He is founder and executive director at Real Way Foundation. He's a man who has a huge heart for people. He cares about all people, and you can tell that through his interactions with others. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Cyan decided that it was time to start a nonprofit of all things that would help the unhoused population that was growing like crazy in our area during this time. Real Way Foundation is the name of the nonprofit organization that he started and is currently building. This organization helps the unhoused and anyone in need with career skills and leadership training. He has a huge desire to make a major positive impact on this world, and this seems to be one area where he can help empower people to thrive, to be the best people that they can be. Good morning, Cyan. How are you?
Good morning, Matt. I'm doing fantastic.
It's great to have you here in the studio. We appreciate you coming in. So tell us, everybody in the world would have said the pandemic was the worst time in the world to start a business, let alone a nonprofit. So tell us what motivated you to found Real Way Foundation.
Well, the motivation started all the way back in Jamaica. So it's not just in the pandemic. It got moving in the pandemic. Okay. I've always have a passion to help those who are really hurting. And during the pandemic, that's a big factor. A lot of people start getting out of jobs. A lot of people not being qualified to do a job or keep their jobs. So for me, it was more like been in school, have my degree in leadership and coaching. I'm like, why not use that to help those really need their help to get back into the workforce?
Wow. And it's not, well, as the name nonprofit indicates, it's not necessarily something that's lucrative. How beautiful of a thing that you and your family really are willing to go out on a limb during literally one of our world's most volatile periods of time to help your fellow man. Absolutely beautiful. So tell us about the services that you offer at Real Way Foundation. What do you do for these folks that are struggling?
Well, the first thing we do is we ask them about their goals, like where they want to go, what are they looking for in heading back into the job world. Then we help them with their resume. We help them, if they have one, we help them look it over, make sure, it has all the components on it. And then we help them with the interview process. So if they have an interview coming up, we sit down with them, we do mock interviews.
All right.
And we help them with Dress for Success.
Great.
Once they get these jobs, I work with most adults and youths as well. And I work with a young man who wasn't able to tie a tie. And that hurt my heart a lot because you cannot wear shorts and flip-flop to job interview. I don't know who's going to hire you in that, but he wasn't able to tie a tie. We were able to do that. So then we help them with a Dress to Success piece. And then after that, we help them online to say, okay, what job are you looking for? Let's apply for it. So once they get the job, most people think, oh, it's done. No, it's just the beginning.
Right.
Because a lot of people go to a job and because of the shutdown, they don't know how to probably navigate some of the leadership stuff, how when a supervisor talks to you, how to respond.
Sure.
And they become that toxic employee. I've been around toxic employees. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that one.
Get out of work again real soon.
And they'll be right back where they started.
Right.
So our goal, Real Way, is to help them better understand how to conduct themselves even after they get the job. All right. So that's when the work we do starts.
I love that.
It's the behind the scene where nobody sees.
So it's not just getting back on your feet; it's staying on your feet
Yeah.
and taking those first few steps forward. That is
Right.
That is beautiful. So when someone comes to you, what's the process from their perspective? They walk into your office and say, "Look, I'm struggling, need help getting a job." How do you help them? What's that process that you take them through?
Well, for starters, they don't walk into my office.
Okay.
Because we only have a PO box and a entity number.
It's tough to get inside.
It's tough to get into a PO box. So I roll up with my Corolla and my logo wherever
Okay,
they
so
are.
you go to them.
I go to them.
All right.
Right? And they say they want a job. I'm like, what are you looking for? What are the skills you have? Because a lot of people say, oh, I want a job, but nobody wants to work. That's two different things. Right?
Right.
So, oh, I need a job. I want to go because I want to get paid. But are you going to work for what you need to get paid? So you have to be able to carry yourself with a little decency when you go into the establishment. So do you have an interview? No. Okay, let's schedule one. How are you going to do that? So we say, let's talk about your resume because your resume is an extension of you.
Sure.
Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
If I want to know where your career is, let me see your resume because if you're doing 5 service jobs, but then know you want to go be a builder, that's kind of hard. You have never done any building job in your life. So why you want to go build? So let's look at the service piece and say, how can you be a server? Not like a food person, but someone that's a servant.
Okay.
So, customer service, customer relations, deal with people. Like in like a garment store, be the person on the floor, help them, buy what they want.
All right.
So that's how we look at it. Then they'll say, well, I have technology skills, I have this. I'm like, let's look at your resume and see where can we plug that in.
Okay, so it's also helping to provide that direction.
Yes.
That, like you said, if I want to get into construction, but I don't have a construction background, that's going to be a significant challenge. Let's use your experience, let's use your unique talents to maybe direct you that way. And if building is something that I'm passionate about, okay, let's continue to follow that customer service experience, but maybe start working on getting some education or some experience in that.
The challenge with a lot of folks, everybody always said, let's work on your weakness. No, why work on your weakness when you have a strength? You keep working on your strength. Take what you use on your strength to apply it to your weakness and bring your weakness up to your strength. But don't take away from what you're good at. That's a waste of time. Because you're going to go give up what you're good at to work on what you're not good at and neglect your strength. Why would you neglect your strengths?
That's really interesting.
But a lot of people do it.
Sure.
Just like you have a child, they come home with 4 A and 1 C.
Uh-huh.
Guess what the parents is going to focus on?
They're going to focus on that C, sure.
No. Congratulate the child on the A.
Okay.
And then you talk to them and say, the attitude you put in that A, now let's put that to the C.
Okay.
Don't stop putting the great attitude in the A.
I love that.
Because I don't want you to go down to 4C and 1A, because that's what will happen if you take your focus off it.
Sure.
So don't go be a contractor if you never mix cement in your life when you always serve.
All right. That's a really interesting concept, and it feeds right into that universal truth that what we focus on grows.
Yes.
So if I focus on that C, I'm going to get more C's, right? So if I focus on my weakness, then it's just going to build. Oh, wow, that's an incredible truth. I really appreciate that. So we talked about how you support folks into, through, and beyond getting back started. So how do folks find you, or how do you find folks? How does this connection happen?
Well, presently, we help out at Bridge to Home and Action.
Okay.
So we also work with at-risk youths,
Right.
a lot of the younger folks. So we go there. We go to those buildings and we do one training a week.
Okay.
But for the past month, I think there's COVID. I don't even know. Didn't know COVID was still on. Well, a couple places are closed down to outside visitors.
All right.
Because a lot of people are coming in not feeling well. And then with Action, we slowed down going every week because like the paid job picked up because I start coaching again, like soccer and stuff, so I can supplement the non-profit aspect.
You've got to feed your kids too, yeah.
Yes, so now we're scheduling back to get back out there.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so, and this is really interesting because when I look at your website, and you and I have spoken at length about what you do, I tend to focus on adults, right? And you do support a tremendous amount of adults. So you're going into finding organizations where joblessness, homelessness tend to be a little bit more prevalent, and you go plug yourself in to provide that support. You said you work closely with Action, and you have a great partnership with Action that deals with addiction here in the Santa Clarita Valley. They do amazing things with adults and with teens. You also work with kids.
Yes.
So talk to us about what you're doing with kids in your partnership at Action.
Well, it's kind of cool you asked it because it brought tears to my eye. Like a young person, no name will be mentioned, actually sent me a note. And it says, Dear Cy. They didn't even put my full name because most people can't pronounce it.
So I like Cy. That works for me, yeah.
He said, thank you for your foundation and what you have done at Action. Your resume building, interview prep, and job skills have really helped me, and I appreciate it. You've been there even though you don't have to be there. So that's one of the things. I'm glad this young person realized that I'm there. Like, most people think I get paid to do what I do. I don't.
Wow.
Like, so I'm there even... Nobody said, go get them. No, I want to be the person to help them.
Okay.
Because I was helped when I ran away at 14. Somebody showed some compassion to me and says, I'm really sorry that you're not able to come, but we miss you. Like, he's saying, I hope that he can see me again and learn more.
Wow.
So this young man wants to learn more. Crazy thing is, I went to a store in Castaic and this young man was working.
Oh, wow.
And that is a big plus for me.
Wow.
And he said hi, and we were talking for a little bit, and he's excited. And I was like, okay.
You're instilling some tremendous passion into folks, and I can tell that because I know this generation. I've got kids. I've got a 20-year-old, and I've got a 22-year-old. I'm looking at a thank you note that some young man bought, wrote by hand, and then stuck in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and mailed it to you. Kids don't do that anymore. But I think, you're providing amazing skills and training. But I think that young man hit on it in that note. What you're providing is someone that doesn't have to care, that cares anyways. Someone that shows up in my life and says, I'm here for you. I got you. I'm going to help. And so many teens, so many adults that are dealing with these struggles, addiction, homelessness, not being able to get a job, oftentimes they feel like they don't have anybody in their corner. And you're there in so many different ways saying, I'm here. I've got you. Yeah, I'm going to help you write a resume. I'm going to help you learn to tie a tie. I'm going to help direct your career. But I'm also just going to say, I'm here. I'm your network. I got you. And that is so important. Yeah. That is absolutely beautiful. So we need to take a break in just a little bit, but I want to give our listeners an opportunity to connect with you because, like you said, you don't take a paycheck for doing this. You and your family, I know, work really hard to make ends meet. You've got a paying job so that you can do this unpaid job. So you know how generous our community is. You're doing the hard work that oftentimes so many of us don't have the time for, don't have the ability, don't have the passion for, but boy, we love to scratch out a check, and I know that can help. So how can folks get in touch with your program? How can folks donate? Do you take volunteers to help you out, or is this just you and your organization working right now?
Well, we always want volunteers.
All
There's
right.
always a lot to do.
Okay, great.
Somebody want to donate, they can always go to the website and go to donate, and the donate button is there. We also have an event. I know you might ask about it later, but we have an event coming up in December. It's called Spirits of the Holidays, and that is one of our biggest fundraisers efforts so far. We have a couple of tables sold, but our goal is to have at least 120 persons out there, so we can raise some funds to continue the mission.
Fantastic. So you've got some events coming up. We will when we get back. We'll talk a little bit more about those. You mentioned folks can donate and they can get involved. I'm looking on your website right now. You've got a get involved button, big red button, very well done, right there in the top center. So what's that website for folks to get a hold of you?
It's realwayfoundation.org.
Okay, realwayfoundation.org. And is that the way you prefer folks to reach out to you, or do you prefer telephone, email?
They can always text me 661-877-2504, or they can email me at swignall@realwayfoundation.org.
Okay, fantastic. So one more time, because I know producer Sarah's working hard on the back end, and she'll pop those into our Facebook Live feed. Your website, your phone number, your email for folks to contact you.
realwayfoundation.org.
All right.
And S Wignall, as in SWIGNAL, at realwayfoundation.org. And then my phone number is 661-877-2504.
Fantastic. Cyan Wignall is the founder and executive director of Real Way Foundation. They're doing all the hard work of getting people back on their feet and moving forward, and doing incredible work with teens and kids that are struggling with addiction, and then the related problems of getting their adult lives started. Doing tremendous work with kids and with adults. When we get back, we'll talk about some of the other projects that they've got in the works, as well as some of the fun. I like to capitalize FUN in fundraiser. You've got some fundraisers coming up here as we get into the holidays. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with the founder and executive director of Real Way Foundation, Cyan Wignall. Cyan, we talked a little bit earlier about how you're providing leadership and job training skills to help get people out of homelessness and addiction and back on their feet. But you've got some other projects going on. We talked about your collaboration with Action. What are some of the other projects that you've got going through Real Way Foundation?
Well, one of our project is with Bridge to Home, and if you go to our website and go to testimonial, that video on top is like, it's a tearjerker. That's one of our person we assist. He's out of Bridge to Home in his own home in Lancaster, and he has a job now.
Okay.
And his name is Ron, because we have all paperwork signed, so I can mention his name. And plus, he's an adult, so I can mention it. Mm-hmm. So when there's a minor involved, we don't even use acronyms. We don't use any name or anything.
Okay.
Because we have to protect the minor and their family.
Sure.
And then we have a bunch of projects going on, but our Spirits of the Holiday is the biggest. And then throughout the year, we have a project we call Care Share Reach. It's a bag drive that we have necessaries in. And my Jamaican accent, can't even pronounce that word.
Okay, so
we have like blankets.
Okay,
so
those necessities,
there you go.
Okay.
Personal hygiene products in the bags, and then we hand them out to over 150 personals.
Wow, and so that's the Care Share Reach program. You're putting together bags of those.
And that work
items.
is, if we care about somebody, then we put something in a bag, so we can share with them.
Sure.
But in order to give it to them, we have to reach them. So we care, we share, we reach. So it's a Care, Share, Reach project.
Okay.
So I like playing with words. I'm like that. And then our fundraisers, our fundraiser, as most people would say it, is we have some unique, amazing local talents. That's going to perform live at this event. We have a boy quartet that's going to play some classical music for us, do our VIP hour. Mm-hmm. We have 3 young ladies that are like, I don't even know what they call themselves, but they're really good. And then we have a member who also sang at our church, really good vocalist. She's going to be there as well. So we have like 5 talents that we're going to have within that 4-5-hour span of events.
Wow.
Some good food. Can't forget the good food.
Okay, so this is all your Spirit of the Holidays event.
All my Spirit of the Holidays event. Okay. This is the fundraiser event.
There we go. So give us some of the details. You talked about entertainment. It's a 4-hour event with all kinds of tremendous quality entertainment. Yeah. You said amazing food. So give us the details. People need to mark their calendar.
Mark your calendar, December 3rd. Right around the corner.
All right.
Yes, literally around the corner. At the William S. Art All Park. Right?
Okay.
It's local.
All right.
For VIP, doors open at 6.
All right.
Everybody else, the door open at 7. We are working with Humanity Wine Project. All right. They're providing, it's a spirits. If people cannot read between the line.
Oh,
Spirits of the
the
holiday.
spirits of the
holiday.
I get it. Don't whine.
So,
We got you covered.
Don't whine. There you go. Stop
right.
your whining. We got Humanity Wine Project for
I
you.
love it.
So, and then we're gonna have a few beers from Draconium. That's right,
All right.
on the street. So,
All right.
so then the Wolf Creek is catering for the food.
You have the best quality food. There we go.
Blackened chicken pasta.
Oh, man.
It's on the menu.
Oh man.
My favorite.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting for them, but I'm just telling the food is awesome.
Yeah.
You know. And then we have a butterfly brittle. Personally, going to be there as well.
Wow.
With going to do the pairing with the candy and the wine, and let people know what goes with it. Plus, we're going to have some cheese to do with it as well. But it's going to be good.
Wow.
It's gonna be
so
good.
so you've got food from Wolf Creek. You've got wine. You've got beer from local supporters.
Yeah.
And you said it's going to be at Hart Park. December. It's beginning in November and it's cold out there. It's not going to be out in the park. It's not outside, is it?
It's both inside, outside.
Inside, outside. Okay.
In that hard hall right there.
All right.
Yeah.
So in the hallway there at Hart. Wow, that's a beautiful, beautiful venue.
And it's like a gala, so people need to dress a little nice. No slacks and flip-flops.
We love to get dressed up, especially
Yeah.
in the wintertime, you know.
So you can stay warm.
There we go. Throw on those bow ties, get dressed up, and head out there. Again, that's December 3rd. Okay, fantastic. And the money's going to go, obviously, to an incredible cause, Real Way Foundation. How do folks get information on tickets? Do they need to buy tickets ahead of time or at the door?
I would say buy tickets ahead of time, so we can have your seat reserved. It's again, everything is online. You go, I don't have enough wine.
Yeah.
You go online and you go to event, and it's right there, Spirits of the Holiday, and you just scroll down and just click the ticket link, and you can get your ticket that way.
Okay, fantastic. So you go to your website, realwayfoundation.org, click on events, and you can get tickets to the Spirits of the Holiday. Spirits, we got beer and wine and great food.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned it again, but I want to mentioned it before, but I want to mention it again. Some of the entertainment that you've got. You've got a boys choir coming.
It's instrumental. We're gonna put out some commercials. Some clip it, and you're gonna see these boys practicing.
All right.
Just like a 30-second, and then we're gonna have 2 30-second clip coming out soon for the person or some of the live entertainment, so people can get a feel for what is gonna be. The boys will be accompanied by their parent because they are minors, so they'll be there with their parents just so they do their set. Somebody can pick them up, they can go home, and the parents can.
and then you've got other entertainment acts.
Entertainment, yes.
So who else have you got coming?
It's a secret.
Oh,
Matt,
okay.
Matt,
Sorry about that.
If I tell you all of this, Matt, you're not going to show
So
up. Oh, I
just
know
know
him. No, come on over.
Just know that Scion and Real Way Foundation has got a good 4 to 5 hour event for you on December 3rd, Spirits of the Holiday. Go to their website, realwayfoundation.org. Click on events for more information and to buy your tickets. Now, I want to get back. You shared Ron's story, and that was absolutely beautiful about how you helped Ron get up on his feet. He's now up there in Lancaster, and he's working and doing well. But he can't be your only success story. And this is one of, we often talk about folks like yourself that live a very selfless life, and you do. You've dedicated your life to the service of others, but there's also that kind of intrinsic kind of. It's not completely selfless because you get that rush, right? When you see you're having success with someone, it does kind of feed your heart a little bit. Can you tell us some more of those great stories? You've got to have several. I know your organization's only a couple years old, but what are some of your favorite success stories that you've seen?
One of the other favorite success is a young man named Anthony Arkless. He works 2 jobs right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's a security supervisor. And he also is getting into acting. And he's not sleeping in his car anymore.
Okay.
He's now in a half house in the valley. He's trying to get his own little spot also. But he has started his own clothing line called Ugly with a Confident. And we sat down and he asked me, how do I get this done with LegalZoom? Wow. So he's in the process of getting his own LLC right now.
Wow.
To launch his own T-shirt company.
So he went from
sleeping in his car
to now he's acting and got his own clothing line that he's about to launch.
Yes.
Wow, that is truly incredible.
And then the other one, I should have brought more. I have a couple more notes from like exit interview, the joy I get is from these notes.
Sure.
Like, I don't show it, people don't see it, but it's just when you see the impact and the appreciation that comes back from it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where it impacts me the most, because I see it all the time.
Right.
Like recently I was at the park coaching soccer, and a young person was just sitting there, and they're like watching us coach playing. Then I said, "Are you okay?" And they just start crying. I was like, "What's going on?" It's hard to make friends. This person's under 21, or under 18 actually, and they're just sitting in the park. I'm like, but to my now, if they're here in the park, then it's really going to be hard to make friends if you are not where your age group are. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not playing soccer, so why are you at the park? And this person was just, ever since COVID, it's hard to trust people, and that breaks my heart.
Wow.
Because there's a young person out there just sitting down. They were studying for school, but you can't trust people. That is just brutal.
Yeah.
You know, because then where's the humanity? Yeah. Like, when do we stop caring? When do we stop showing people that we love them? Like, when?
Right.
So a young person can say, there's no one out there to trust, and there's no one with their energy level. It's so isolated.
Yeah.
You know, and that's painful, but at the same time, when I read a note of the appreciation and then see this young person working, you know, put into use some of the stuff that we share with them, that's also another win. Mm-hmm. But you don't see us, we don't float those wins around.
Right.
Because I'm not doing this for the big wins. I'm not doing this for the small wins. I'm doing this for the person to get on their feet, because you notice, if somebody was, and I'm not saying we work with purpose and steal, but let's say somebody is a criminal and you help them get a job and then they're giving back to the community. That's one person not stealing.
Right.
Nobody look at that.
Yeah.
But that's also one person not going into the jail system.
Sure.
That's one person can say, hey, I was helped, so let me help somebody else.
Right. Yes.
See, nobody sees that. Uh-huh. Right? They see, oh, yeah, you do this, you help the person. Mm-hmm. But the ripple effect of you helping one, and they're helping another. Let's say Anthony get his T-shirt going and he has hire 3 or 4 person. Uh-huh. That's because I gave him my business card.
Sure.
1 year ago.
Sure. Yeah. And it's exponential because numbers have shown you're right, much more likely to reach out to help others if someone has reached out to help us and given us that pattern. And it almost ingrains on our brain, this is what a person does. This is what a human does. When they're able, they help others. And so it is. I mentioned you live a life of service to others, but you do get a little something. You get that rush. You get that warm heart feeling. And our listeners. One of the amazing things that I think of as a teacher, I've taught thousands of kids over my life, and a couple of them will write me those little notes, or I've heard, now that they're adults, one young man got his medical degree a couple years ago and reached out to me and said, if it weren't for you. Those are really cool. But I think of the, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of kids that I touched that just for whatever reason didn't reach back. I have teachers that touched me profoundly, and I never told them, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll never know how deeply we've touched people, and our listeners can have that satisfaction as well of being a part of the way that you're touching so many lives. So one more time, share with our listeners how they can find you, how they can help out, how they can support what you're doing at Real Way Foundation.
Well, they can always go to the website, realwayfoundation.org. Mm-hmm. Go to the donate button. There's various ways to donate there. We if most people don't want to donate, but here's it. They shop on Amazon. There's a thing called Amazon Smile.
Yes. Explain that.
Amazon Smile. It's amazing. We have like 5 people support us through it, and we get $12 every quarter. $12, it might not look a lot, but it's okay. I'll take $12.
So how do our listeners do that? How do they?
So when you go to Amazon, you can switch over to not your Amazon Prime, but Amazon Smile. And when you purchase any item through Amazon Smile, if you put Real Way Foundation as your supported nonprofit, we get 0.05% of what you spend without you sending it our way.
Yeah.
And then every quarter, Amazon will just send the money to our account as a donation from all the person who support us.
And it's one of those things that we call passive fundraisers, right?
Yes.
Because it's so easy. You only have to do it one time.
Yep.
Like you said, you go on amazonsmile.com and your organization, Real Way Foundation, you search for them.
Yep.
And you click on, this is the organization I want to support, and boom, you're
Yep,
done.
you're done.
Now, from every time moving forward that you buy something on Amazon, a couple
They
of cents
always
go
say
to Real Way.
qualify, because they didn't tell us what's qualified. But
Sure.
a qualified purchase,
Yeah.
we get percentage, a couple cents to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And so it's one of those great things that I love doing, because I know, gosh, I'm an Amazon junkie, and I get that adrenaline rush when I come home and I see that little box on the front porch. But it's really cool because I know every time I buy something on Amazon, a few cents are going to that nonprofit. So our listeners can send it to Real Way Foundation.
And then
on Amazon.
And then
What else?
Also, we used to have we're going to revamp it, a garment store where we sell sweatshirts. But it's called, I forgot the link because I'm trying to get rid of it, so I don't even want to remember the link. But we're going to try to get a garment store again so we can have merch, so that they can support us that way. So we're in process of finding a good vendor to do that for us. So even though the link is up there for Custom Cat, it's the shirts they strip easily, so we're trying the logo peel off easily. So we're trying to find a different person to do that for us. And then again, like the donation button, that's there, so that's how they can participate.
Sure. So click on that red donate button or send something in. Sign up on Amazon Smile. Click Real Way Foundation as the benefactor of a couple of cents that you don't even have to send. Amazon's going to send it. So, Cyan, you're doing great work. We talked about the Care Share Reach, where you're putting together packages of those daily necessities, blankets, toiletries, etc., for folks that need those. You've got the Spirit of the Holidays event coming up on December 3rd, where folks can have first-class wine, beer, food from Wolf Creek, and then world-class entertainment right down here at the hall at Hart Park. So those are all different ways folks can support you. You're helping adults and teens get out of addiction, out of homelessness and joblessness, and you're preparing them to take those first steps forward and then hanging on to them even as they start moving into it, having tremendous success. And so I can't imagine why our listeners wouldn't want to be a part of that. Thank you. Thank you, brother, for all you do for our community. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cyan Wignall, founder and executive director at Real Way Foundation. They're giving their all to get people back on their feet. So what can you do to support them? Well, you can start by visiting that website, realwayfoundation.org. Smash that red donate button or buy tickets to the Spirit of the Holidays event on December 3rd. Get connected with them. They're doing incredible work right here in your community. We're going to break for a quick commercial, and we will be back. We're gonna goof off with my big brother here in just a couple minutes. This is SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. And we've had a couple of just absolutely amazing guests today. We had Sherelle and Manola talking about this amazing project that their kids are participating in called Dream Up to Space, where, yeah, gosh, if you were listening, kindergarten through 8th grade learners writing proposals for NASA for experiments to be conducted up in space on the International Space Station, and not just mock proposals. 5 of them will go before an actual panel of scientists, and one of them is going to be chosen to go up in space. So one of our kids from iLead Antelope Valley, or not one of our kids, a group of our kids will have one of their experiments sent to the space station, conducted by NASA scientists, and sent back down for post-flight analysis. Really, really cool. We also just spoke with Cyan Wignall from Real Way Foundation. He's doing amazing work with teens and adults, helping get their lives back on track and giving them the job and professional training that they need to get their lives moving forward again. And so it's just been an amazing show. Unfortunately, it's about to come off the rails because we've got engineer Matt in the studio. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. And unfortunately, I think we've got my big brother on the line. That's right. It is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is a longtime resident and leader in the Santa Clarita Valley. He's an executive and a philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and community leader. And, Big T is just a guy who brings joy to everyone in the room every time he leaves it. That's right. Here he is. He's Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show. Big T, you got us? Well, while we're working on Big T, I think we've got producer Sarah on the line. She's going to be playing with us today. Producer Sarah, you there? All right.
Oh, my goodness.
There we go.
It's just you and me.
Maddie, can you hear me?
We got you both now. All right, fantastic. So we've got Engineer Matt, we got Big T, we got producer Sarah on the line, and we are ready to play. Now, if you're a regular listener, y'all know the rules. Big T's got trivia for us. We're going to hit our buzzers. Our buzzers are our names. So Matt, when you know the answer, shout out Matt. Sarah, when you know the answer, shout out Sarah. When I know the answer, I'm going to shout out something random like Frogger. I don't know. But you at home, you have an advantage. You don't have to shout out your name. Just shout out the answer. See if you can beat us. You keep score at home and see if you can beat us. I'm going to keep score here in the studio. And I'm going to cheat if I need to because Matt's taken me down the last couple of times, and I'm getting frustrated. Big T, what have you got for us this morning?
Cool. Hey, speaking of cheating, I got a little bit of a World Series Astros fun fact.
There we go.
So, I guess the Astros are having a little trouble getting fed in Philadelphia. They reached out to both Mike's Barbecue and Angelo's Pizza, and rumor is that both those places are refusing to feed the Astros.
I love it.
So before Game 3, they reached out to Angelo's, and they wanted a post-game spread of 10 pizzas. Well, Angelo's, the real story, said, "No, man, I get to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to stay there till 11 o'clock to make you pizzas. We close at 7. Find somewhere else." Well, and then Mike's Barbecue, supposedly they weren't able to do it because the Astros reached out for a Latin spread. They said, "We're a barbecue place." They said, "Oh, sorry, wrong number, man." Well, before Game 3, in Game 3, the Phillies hit 5 bombs. Before Game 3, you could see a spread of Angelo's subs right there on the table in the clubhouse that the Phillies were eating.
I love it. I love it. Philly fan, you're doing it right.
Hey, Big T, what happened in Game 4 of the World Series? Do you know?
Yeah, I understand. Matt, where are you going to eat when you go to Philly, Matt?
Well, I do have connections there because my brother studied in Philadelphia. So I think Philadelphia and we're on good terms. We have a mutual respect for one another.
All right, White Castle, here
there
we
go.
Let's
get right into some baseball trivia.
All right.
Who's the only team outside of the U.S. to win the World Series?
Frogger.
Sarah.
Did I hear Frogger?
I think it was Frogger.
Okay.
I think it was Frogger.
I'm going to go Dominican Republic.
Incorrect.
Matt.
They don't play in the major leagues.
Oh,
Matt.
No, I thought you said Sarah was next.
Oh,
Was
Sarah's
it?
next.
Oh,
Excuse me.
okay.
Sarah's next.
Expos.
Incorrect.
Matt.
Oh!
That would
Matt?
be the Toronto Blue Jays, our neighbors to the north.
Toronto Blue Jays is correct. Who was the first manager to win a World Series in both leagues?
Frogger.
Frogger.
I'm going Leo DeRocher.
Incorrect. Happened in the mid-'70s was the first win. He won it with the Reds.
Wow.
Then he won it with the Tigers.
Matt.
Jim
Leland.
Incorrect. Sarah, you got anything?
Nothing. I got nothing.
Papa's at home going, Sparky Anderson.
Oh, come on.
Sorry to let you down, Papa.
All right. What Ivy League school was originally called King's College?
Frogger.
Harvard. Sarah.
Incorrect. Sarah.
Columbia.
Correct. Nice pull.
Nice.
Who created Dennis the Menace?
Oh.
Matt. His parents.
Half a point.
I like it.
Hank Ketchum.
Hank Ketchum. Okay.
Yep. What country's flag flies over Ibiza?
Frogger. Spain?
España is correct.
We buy from Spain.
We buy from Spain. What is the largest of Saturn's moons?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Oh, this might be Jupiter. Titan?
Titan is correct. Nice pull, Sarah.
Very nicely done, Sarah.
What Peanuts character noted big sisters are the crabgrass and the lawn of life?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That would be Linus Venpelt.
Linus is correct. Who was the first black president of South Africa?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Nelson Mandela.
That's correct. What U.S. state is known as the Sunflower State?
Ooh, Frogger.
Frogger.
I'm going Iowa.
Incorrect.
Ooh, Sarah.
Sarah.
Because I got a 1 in 49 shot if I guess.
Right.
I'm going to go with Arkansas.
Incorrect.
I got alphabetically in my brain.
Matt, we've narrowed it down to 48 for you.
1 in 48 chance. I like my odds. Let's go with Montana.
They do. Incorrect. I was going to give you a hint that they do have a city of Manhattan, but it's Kansas.
All right. Sarah, the Grobro is going to be disappointed in you.
I know. What are the names of Cinderella's stepsisters?
Oh. Frogger.
Oh,
Frogger.
I think it's Grisella and Drusilla.
You are right.
Incorrect on both.
Oh,
wow.
Actually, I think you got the second one.
Sarah. Is it
Sarah.
Jorinda? Something. No. I think Matt was closer.
You got one with Drusilla. We got the second one or no?
I don't think
Matt,
we
anything?
know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anastasia.
Absolutely not. No.
Anastasia.
Alrighty.
I'm giving myself half a point on that one.
That's fine. The Erie Canal connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic via what river?
Frogger.
Sarah?
Frogger.
The Hudson.
Hudson is correct.
Yeah, I got a mule. Her name is Sal.
What brand of bandage and braces by 3M can you also find in a deck of cards?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Ace.
Ace is correct.
Ace bandages.
What part of the body connects the spinal system to the forebrain?
Frogger. The skull.
Hello?
Frogger.
You got us, Sarah?
I was going to say the cortex, but I heard weird beeping.
Oh, interesting. So was I right with skull?
Incorrect.
Tony? No?
No, I didn't hear either answer. No. Matt, you got anything?
No, absolutely nothing. No.
All right. STEM.
Oh, all right.
What term refers to an outgoing politician still holding office whose successor has already been elected?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Lame duck.
Lame duck is correct.
Woo-hoo.
In 1994, Tanya Harding was implicated in an attempt to injure what rival skater?
Frogger. Nancy Kerrigan.
That is correct.
Matt, next week you're going to have to sit over here. This mic works a lot better for you. Big T, we've got to go, but I want to thank you for swinging by. Also want to thank our guests, Manola and Sherelle from iLead AV and their amazing Dream Up project, Cyan Wignall from Real Way Foundation, Big T, Engineer Matt, Precious, Producer Sarah, and thank you for listening. Hey, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good. Join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.